New ban list? Well, that means free real estate. Oh yeah!
Stand up! Vanguard!
Hey Cardfighters, welcome back to yet again another ban list speculation video, or a video where we're gonna talk about my personal predictions of the upcoming ban list we're gonna get on May the 5th. And this is a very special day for me personally as a Dutch person, as that is the day we celebrate our freedom from World War II. So hopefully this ban list is gonna be something big. So there's a big difference between this ban list and any other ban list we had before. We have no results to base the ban list on. Usually, whenever a ban list comes out, or when they announce a ban list, we had a season where we had a Spring Fest season, or an Autumn Fest season, or a World Championship season, where they can base the results on of what decks are performing quite well, what decks are toxic or not working as they had intended, so unintended consequences of a certain interaction, and they can then outright ban that card or ban those specific sets of cards so they can increase the playability of the game. But this time, there's no such a situation, as the whole quarantine thing worldwide cancelled the entire season for Springfest. So that makes this ban list very interesting. So for this particular ban list prediction video, we're going to split it up in 3 categories for each section. And the first one is basically no changes. This is the big one that a lot of people have been explaining that, or been shouting out in the community, that this ban list will probably be, haha, psych, we have no changes, here's the ban list, no changes, nothing. I'm not sure that that will be the case. I'm almost 99.9% certain that that's definitely not the case. And the reason for that is that Bushiroad plans ban lists twice a year, and those dates are per usual at the end or near the end of a season. The problem here is the last ban list that we got was in February. That's only like 3 months ago, maybe 4 months since this ban list. That's way too short, and if the entire quarantine thing didn't happen, then Springfest would at least be still going on for about 2 months before May, before this ban list. So this is way too soon for the original date of the ban list. And I think they even announced it back in February when we got the initial ban list of this year, that the next ban list would be somewhere around June, July, after Daivangasai, a big event in Japan. And it's May, so it's way too early for that event. So this is most likely a unplanned emergency ban list, the same thing that we had when the whole Ichikishima ban list happened and we got our actual bans. So that's why I think this ban list will definitely have some type of restriction for either standard or premium. So I don't believe there's a no changes gonna happen here. So that brings us to the second part of this video, and that is basically emergency fixes. And what I mean with that is basically that this ban list, they're trying to fix something that will probably break after May happens, and they're not gonna intervene with this. And to explain what I'm hinting at is basically in May we're gonna get 2 major sets for Japan, and that is the Magister Blaster set, and we're gonna get the Premium Collection. And this is the major one, the Premium Collection. I have heard ideas or suggestions about the Magister Blaster that there might errata cards like the Blaster Dark, as it's really weird that they only made it for that particular Blaster Dark to be played in Royal Paladin, that might errata that every Blaster Dark or something like that. Or that they're gonna errata maybe cards in the Premium Collection. I don't think that that's gonna be the case. Because why would they make a ban list announcement and put it into the ban list to errata a card that has yet to be released? I mean, they have done this before, that they just errata a card before it's released and they just change the card. And they didn't add it into a ban list. Good example is Dust. That card was errataed before it came out and it didn't come on the ban list. We also seen this in the Grand Blue starter from the Robbie Rebellion set, where we got a 7C starter that was a bit abusive with the 7C archetype, so they errated the card before it came out, so the skill changed when they actually printed the card. So if they're going to do that for the Magisterial Blaster deck or for the Premium Collection set, then I think if they're gonna run it, they're just gonna change the skill and that's about it. They're not gonna put it on the ban list because it doesn't make sense. If they're gonna errata a card that's already came out, like we've seen with Riviere, then yes. Then they might put it onto a ban list for an emergency ban list update, but that's not the case here. So I don't think that that's gonna happen. What I do think is gonna happen in this scenario is that they're probably understand that they screwed up. That they made cards and didn't see a particular interaction, and then once they were revealed the cards to the community picked up on this and actually showcased their problematic interactions within their cards, and now they saw that they screwed up and they need to fix this. They need to put in a hotfix to prevent undesired interactions. And the main thing here is what everybody is hinting at is the Katrina interactions with its plant tokens and the Storm Elemental Cyclone deck. And the reason why that's basically a bit abusive is that the whole engine with the whole vanilla cards is perfectly fit for whole Katrina with her vanilla tokens. The stride alone will empower the deck to immense levels. That in itself can already be pretty annoying and toxic to some extent. But now with the latest reveals that we got with the grade 2 and the grade 3 that are basically a superior right engine that could be splashed in any deck, that makes the whole Katrina build even more annoying. And the reason why it's mainly for Katrina and no other deck is that most other clans cannot actually utilize these cards, as you're forced to run an excessive amount of vanillas in your deck to actually make it playable or happen. And Katrina, or the whole plant token build, doesn't have to do that. They just can play their normal cards because every other card can create a token, which is a vanilla card, and basically you can say every card is then therefore a vanilla card. And some cards can even create 2 tokens. So that is really problematic here. So I think that's highly likely that on this emergency ban list, we're going to see some type of restriction between Katrina and Cyclone, that you probably cannot utilize the same cards within the same deck. You either need to pick Cyclone or you either need to pick Katrina. Not both. I think that should be fair, because yes, I think it's fair to give Neo Nectar the whole Cyclone vanilla engine as long as they can't utilize Katrina, as that would be way too abusive. I'm fine with them utilizing the new stride of the new Premium Collection 2020 that works with the Arsha, as the Arsha token is a vanilla card, so it's less abusive in that sense. So I don't mind that interaction. But then we get to the third part, and that's basically actual bans, actual restrictions. Are they actually going to include newer restrictions? It's hard to say, as we have 0 official results. They cannot base these results on tournament results as they used to in the past, as they don't have those datas. But I don't think Bushiroad is that stupid to not look at what's happening in the community. They have people for this that can just scour the internet, look at content creators, look at what they're discussing, look at community events, and see the results. And mainly, we have seen this with the Vision Cup, that we have some results. And they can definitely base some ban list ideas on those results to maybe fix something. And I'm mainly hinting to the whole Vanquisher and Revan situation in Standard. It's still a bit early, as they didn't have the data with the new Next Stage extra booster set, which Japan actually has, so they're a bit behind. But it isn't really that strange to think that they might hit Revan or Vanquisher even more, as it already Vanquisher got a small hit. They might even hit those decks a bit more as they've seen those results and think, they're still too oppressive, that people might not actually like the new decks, or those newer decks that we're bringing out are not good enough to keep up with. So they might hit that as well. Another thing is that they also might ban or restrict older strides of the Premium Collection 2020, so the newer strides can come in and do their thing. That can also happen as they want to sell this new Premium Collection set. And if Gastille, Katrina, and all the other cards are still too oppressive and don't give a reason to buy the new ones, maybe they might do that. I don't believe they actually will go out of that way, because we've seen that Bushiroad doesn't really utilize this type of idea or concept behind their restriction list or the ban list, like we've seen with other card games like Konami, that sometimes shows that they might have an alternative motive behind the ban list. So I'm not sure if that actually is going to be a thing. But what I am sure about is that we're probably going to see a restriction between the new Grey Elemental series cards and Katrina. That's most likely going to be a thing. But basically for extra things that might pop up here, and this is basically part 4, extra ideas or extra potential things, they might come up with extra preventive restrictions like we've seen back at the beginning of the V era when we just got the first cards with Q4. They suddenly out of nowhere restrict Purple Trapezist from the V series, which was like 3 sets ahead of where we were, with another card with the old Pale Moon card, so they couldn't invent loop. We at the time had no clue what this actually means, as we didn't know what the new Purple Trapeze was going to do. Same happened with Laurel. We didn't know what the new Laurel could do. We didn't even know that Laurel would actually be a thing. Then we knew. That whole scenario might happen again, that we suddenly get restrictions for cards out of the upcoming set for Kagero, OTT, Link Joker, and Dimension Police, that there might be some cards within that set that will break with older cards in Premium, that they might preemptively restrict that. Or we might get that with the set afterwards with Grand Blue, Pale Moon, and Dark Regulars, and another clan I'm forgetting, but it might be in those clans as well, so it could be a far away preemptive hit. What they also could do is maybe change up certain things between cards interactions between the Premium Collection that we are overlooking. A good example is Nue for Murakumo. That card is insanely powerful, and they might say maybe this card is a bit too much, so we're gonna hit it before it releases and prevent it to be played with Hyuga. Or maybe say you can only play 1 or 2 copies of Hyuga if you put this Stride in your deck. I'm not really certain they're actually going to do that, but it's a possibility. But that's basically the main things that I think this ban list will entice. So it's not going to have no restriction, no updates. That's definitely not going to happen. They probably will have a preemptive fix, a preemptive hotfix for the whole Cyclone engine with Katrina, and they might actually hit some older cards to make way for the newer cards within the Premium Collection in this whole set. And I don't think they're going to put in erratas of newer cards that have yet to be released. Because if they're going to errata newer cards that have yet to be released or yet to be printed, they're just going to print them with the new errata skill. That's the most obvious things. They have done this in the past, so they probably will do it again if they need to do that. But that's basically all my thoughts and opinions about this subject. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of the upcoming ban list. Do you have your own prediction for what they might hit or they might restrict? So what do you think is going to happen on May the 5th? As always, this video has been brought to you by our lovely patrons over at patreon.com/VanguardInsider. You guys are amazing. If you want to support the channel or everything that's happening on the channel, then head over to patreon.com/VanguardInsider and become a Patreon today. But with that said, I'm Mr. Timey, and I see you guys in the next one!